Hey, Coach. I guess just first off, thoughts on what you've seen, so far, and now that you're getting into, regular season workouts, what's kind of the next step for these guys?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for this opportunity. I know it's been a long time. It's been a crazy off season and beginning to the season now with everything going on in our world. Chris probably didn't think you'd be doing a press conference from your car like it looks like right now, but yeah, it's been a crazy time. Hopefully, everybody is staying safe and healthy throughout this time. As far as what I've seen from the workouts, I've been really impressed with our players as far as their commitment. It's a group that just loves to compete. They love being in the gym. We've almost had to talk to them about taking some time off, and some of them would come in 3 times a day if we allowed it. We've worked very closely with our sports scientist Chris Bach as far as workloads and making sure that we understand this is there's a marathon here. We've been very fortunate. Knock on wood, but our guys have done a great job as far as staying safe and making the right choices and the right decisions. We have had one positive case, and that's it. And everybody else has stayed away from it. So, we feel good about that for the fact that we have not had to quarantine a large portion of our team, and we've been able to stay on task and been able to get in the gym and work, starting with individual workouts. Then we went to small group workouts, and for the last several weeks, we've actually had full team workouts, and we're making good progress. And again, the thing that I like most about this group is their competitive spirit. Just how much they enjoy being in the gym. I think there's accountability with the guys when certain guys don't come into the gym. We were only allowed a certain number of hours with them, so a lot of the time spent in the gym was with each other, and that's where you grow chemistry. That's where you grow together as a group when the coaches aren't in there, and you can have the team in there working together. But I've been really impressed with the guys, and again, most of that goes to their work ethic.
Next, go Robin Washut, Husker Online.
Hey, Fred. Going back to that positive case, is that still an active case? Can you say?
It is not. No, it is not.
All right, and then going back to this time a year ago, I know one of the things you said was one of your biggest concerns was how your team would handle adversity for the first time together as a collective unit. What have you seen from this year's group that may change one way or the other those concerns compared to what they were a year ago?
Well, I think it's always a concern, Robin. It's going to hit you every time you step on the floor, and you try to do the best job you can in practice settings and putting your players in adverse situations and try to get them to handle it the right way. And if they don't handle it, use it as a learning opportunity for the next time it happens. We had our first real scrimmage within our team, inter-squad scrimmage on Friday. And obviously, a lot of things you see in a setting like that where there's, multiple things that you need to correct as a group. A big part of that is adversity. When one team jumps out, gets out to a big lead, do you put your head down? Do you stop talking to each other? Do you start taking bad shots? Do you start trying to get it back individually? So a lot of those types of things happened in our first scrimmage. I have given them off from that time on Friday to when we start our first official practice tomorrow. And we will watch a good edit film now that we're getting more hours with our players. So yeah, it's always a concern, but I do think this group has the right makeup to handle adversity well this season.
Sam McEwen, Omaha World Herald.
Thanks for doing this, Fred. I really appreciate it. Hey, you had mentioned the chemistry. I was curious, just kind of how did you guys kind of see leaders emerge really quickly? Did you see guys that just wanted to do that? And sometimes leadership is what you do to improve yourself, and it sounds like Ivan has done a lot to improve himself in the offseason despite some of the challenges with COVID.
Yeah, Ivan's been phenomenal, and he came back lighter, 25 pounds lighter than where he left last season. He's more explosive. He's finishing better at the basket. He's reading situations better as we continue to go along. And I think a lot of that, you look at last season and the progression that Ivan made from the beginning of the year, coming in as a 17-year-old international player that hadn't spent much time in the States to where he was at the end of the season. Had a 19 rebound game and a double-double late in the year, and I thought he got progressively better as the season went on. So to come back, I can't remember who said it, but the great thing about freshmen is they become sophomores. And, he's had a year under his belt. He had a lot of valuable experience on the floor, and I think he learned a lot and understood he needed to make changes in his body to be a more consistent basketball player. And I give Ivan a lot of credit. He really bought into that, bought into the program that he did in the offseason when he was not allowed to be here because of the travel restrictions, but he didn't skip a beat. And the fact, not only Ivan, but Thor, who had been in the system and came back and did help provide leadership for our guys because they had been here. And they saw some things that happened a year ago that can't happen if we're going to be a more consistent basketball team this year. So I have been. I'm proud of Ivan for what he's done and how he bought into the offseason program to get his body into the type of shape where he can have a major impact.
Michael Brunts, Nebraska 24/7.
Thanks for doing this, Fred. Quick question on Trey, getting the news that he did with the waiver. How does that kind of change things, I guess, for your backcourt and the outlook there? And also, I guess, just kind of getting that wrapped up before you guys start practice. I mean, is that a little bit more freeing for you? Or I guess the timing of that too, how does that kind of help you?
Yeah, it absolutely will help us. There's no doubt about that we have clarity that Trey will be on our active roster this year. And we approached it that way going in, that he would be available for us. You always prepare for that, and we're thankful. We're thankful that Trey got his waiver, and we're really excited about him. He's a two-way player. I think he can have a huge impact on both ends of the floor. He's a tenacious defender, and you can look at his stats last year leading the ACC in steals. He's got great anticipation on that end. He moves his feet. He's tough. He's physical. And then offensively, he's very versatile. He can play multiple positions. He's really done a good job working on his shot. That was a big point of emphasis for us early in the process, was doing individual skill work, getting the fundamentals right with his shot, with his footwork and his body position, and he's worked extremely hard in that area. He's a guy that can play multiple positions on the floor because of his size and his ability to get downhill. He's shown a great willingness as we've gone on to make simple plays. And when you got guys like he and Delano Banton playing together in the backcourt with Kobe Webster, with other guys, we will have multiple players that can initiate our offense this year. But I love Trey McGowan's. I love his makeup. I love everything he's all about. And, the good news that we got last week in regards to Trey being eligible was huge for our basketball team.
Kevin Suits, KLON, KGIN TV.
Hi, Fred. I was curious how close you are, or do you have an idea what the lineup might look like this year with the first day of practice tomorrow? Is it just an open slate and you're going to let all the guys battle it out, or do you have an idea of who's going to be where with the season still over a month away?
Yeah. Hey, Kevin, good to see you. As far as how we're going to approach everything with playing time, who's going to be the starting group, who's going to be the group that we can trust at the end of games, that will all play itself out in practices as we move towards our opener. From tomorrow, we'll have 42 days before we open our season, and that's what you look for, is who's going to be the players that give you the consistency to deserve to be on the floor, not only at the start, but obviously more importantly at the end of the games. Do I have an idea? Yeah, sure. I think we all have an idea going into it on who's going to be in your rotation, but things obviously are fluid and things can change. But yeah, I've liked this group and the competitive spirit that they brought to practice every day, and I do think we have a pretty diverse, unique group of players that can go out there and play, with multiple skills, just have different types of groups. I think we have a group that can play small, and we also have a group, if we want to, that can play a little bit bigger. You just look at the size of our team this year compared to where we were a year ago. The physicality, I think, of this group, the athleticism of this group, I think we're in a better spot. The league's going to be a monster again, obviously. It's going to be, I think, the best league in the country again, but we are certainly on the right path in going out, hopefully competing and giving ourselves a chance to win every time we step on the floor.
Andrew Ward, KLK on TV.
Hey Fred, you mentioned Thor's leadership a little bit. Can you kind of expand on that and just kind of how he's kind of melded into that role, and how do you see his his playing time and his role on the team on the floor this year?
Yeah, Andrew, I thought Thor had a terrific year for us a year ago. He was really the guy that was Mr. Reliable for us because of everything that he did. He's always in the right spot. You never have to worry about coaching him, and for Thor knowing where to be. He's got that very high innate basketball IQ. He knows how to read situations. He's a very good passer on the floor. He shot the ball at an incredibly high clip, really until about the last week of the season where he went into a little bit of a slump. But anybody that can space the floor for our playmakers, for Delano, for Trey, for Kobe as they make plays, for Teddy, another guy that certainly can make plays. We're going to need those guys on the floor. Thor going into now his fourth year and being a guy that's been through the battles of this league, and he knows what it's all about. So he certainly can help our guys navigate through some of the growing pains that some of our younger players and guys that will be in this league for the first time. We'll rely heavily on Thor for that. And again, he's a guy that wasn't able to be here early, but kept himself in great shape and didn't skip a beat once he got here.
Jacob Padilla, Hail Varsity.
Hey, Coach. You talked about Ivan's improvement, and so what have those kind of workout battles been like? You've got more depth now with Derek eligible play, with Eduardo kind of joining in. What have those practice battles been like, and how do you feel about your depth, especially with the ability to go smaller with some guys as well?
Yeah, Jacob, I feel really good. I feel, again, with Ivan's improvements from where he was in year one to where he is now, and he just, a big part of it is he knows what to expect going into year two, as opposed to being raw year one, not really knowing what his role was going to be and really being thrust into a starter's role. A lot of that because of his size and physicality. So, he's still young, obviously, as an 18-year-old going into year two, but having Derek that will be eligible for us this year, the length of Eduardo, and I've seen great improvement with Eduardo every day. Every day he gets better and better. He's got almost a 7'5" wingspan, so that presents different challenges from what he would go through in a daily battle and practice last year, just to have that length to have to go up against that will simulate a lot of what he's going to face in the Big Ten. All three of those guys have been great, and then we'll have opportunities maybe to slide Lat at 6'9", a guy that's been maybe as consistent as anybody on our team that can really space the floor. He can really shoot the basketball. He's one of those guys when he's open and he shoots it, you're surprised if it doesn't go in. So to have that luxury, a guy that I know is going to battle every time he steps on the floor from a defensive standpoint, but also create opportunities on the offensive end for a mismatch. So that's where I talk about the versatility of this group, not only Ivan, Derek, and Eduardo that are probably more true fives, but now you have an opportunity to play smaller with a very skilled lineup, potentially with Lat at the 5. And the reason we can do something like that with a guy like Lat is we have good positional size. When you play Delano in the backcourt at 6'9", and you got Trey alongside at 6'5", you have Teddy at 6'6", you have other players, Thor 6'5". You've got a pretty versatile lineups where I think you can create some problems defensively, whether you switch 1 through 5. But I think we're going to have much more versatility on the defensive end because of the length that we'll have on our roster.
Matt Foster, KETV.
Hey, Fred. Delano had to sit out last year. Where have you seen him improve the most, and what are you kind of expecting out of him? Obviously, a big body, but he can handle the ball as well.
Yeah, another guy. The best quality that Delano has is his playmaking ability, and when you have that at almost 6'9", it's such a great quality to have. You just look at what he did in Western Kentucky, where I think he was 2 points away from a triple-double at Wisconsin. So, the versatility is what I like most about Delano's game. One thing that we have to improve on from that I've seen in the last couple of weeks is we are turning the ball over too much. With everything that we've got going, and that happens. I've been around this game long enough to know early in the process there's some sloppy times, especially when guys get tired. But as far as Delano, he's in the gym every day. He was actually getting a workout this morning with our GAs, And, he's a guy that's consistently getting better at every aspect. But the good thing about Delano, he wants to be great, and he's got a heck of a future in this game.
Connor Happer, 94.7 The Ticket.
Hey, Coach. How much, just a broad question, I guess, how much shooting do you guys feel like you have right now? You talk about all that versatility and the guys in your roster that can do different things. How much three-point shooting, I guess, even maybe compared to last year, do you feel like you have right now?
Yeah, I think we'll have a better overall shooting team than we did a year ago. You look at Thor obviously coming back as the best returning shooter that was eligible. But you look at Trey McGowan's shooting the ball extremely well right now. Kobe Webster can really shoot it. Teddy Allen has a track record of being a very good shooter and has shot the ball well in the preseason. Lat Mayen, I've talked about the 100-shot drill that we do as a team where he made 86, which is by far the most I've ever heard in that 100 shots. And that's not just spot shooting. That's transition threes. It's coming off the dribble threes. It's coming off screens. So to make 86 is a heck of an accomplishment. He followed that up with making 82. But you look at Shamil Stevenson, a guy that can knock down shots. So overall, yes, I do think we are a much better three-point shooting team than we were a year ago. And within the system that we run, trying to create, shots at the rim and creating open threes where 80% of our shots were last year. Obviously, to have a roster that can capitalize on that and hopefully convert at a higher percentage should give us hopefully an advantage this year.
Robin Watchett.
Hey, Fred, you mentioned you start practice tomorrow. You got 42 days, and yet you still don't even know when your first game is going to be. How much does the schedule uncertainty impact your preparation right now? Is it still a point where you're just focused on yourself? And at what point would you like to at least know when and who you're playing to start the year?
Well, we're going to approach it as if we're going to open our season on November 25th. And, what the schedule will look like, we don't exactly know at this point. It's very fluid. Obviously we'll work with the Big Ten in the schedule that they decide is best for our league. But, right now we're going to approach it as if we're going to open our season up on the 25th.
Sam McEwen.
Following up on what Robin said, there's a name for this tournament, the Golden Window, that's out there. Oklahoma State has announced that they're coming to play in Lincoln. What can you tell us about the Golden Window event? And perhaps, if you can't give us all those details, why perhaps you guys are exploring wanting to start the season in Lincoln and host teams here?
Well, yeah, I just, as of right now, there's just not a lot I can talk about just because, we're still working with the Big Ten on exactly what our schedule will look like. Obviously, we're preparing to play the full 27 games, and the way it works is if you have an MTE event, you can play 27. If you don't have an MTE, you can only play 25. So we're preparing as if we are going to play a 27-game season. Now, if the Big Ten tells us otherwise, then obviously we'll adjust. But we just feel we have to get out in front of it and try to prepare as if we're going to play a 27-game schedule.
The football coaches went through this a couple of weeks ago, or about a month ago. Have you guys had discussions with the Big Ten? Have you had discussions with Kevin Warren? Like, when do you guys anticipate the league giving you more definition and clarity?
Yeah, I know new information is coming in daily, Sam, and we do have calls every week with the Big Ten as far as our coaches being together, and I'm confident that we'll get good direction. When exactly that will come, I don't know, but there's a lot of subcommittees out there as well. So once everything is put together, they will give us our schedule, and we'll do the best we can.
Thank you.
Adam Kruger, KMTV.
Hey, Coach, sorry to harp on the whole scheduling thing like Robin and Sam, but piggybacking off them, when it comes to, not stressing out over it, do you find yourself stressing out over not having a schedule? Do you think the powers that be who make the schedule have enough sense of urgency? And how do you convey to your team a sense of calm when there's uncertainty as far as your schedule still?
Yeah, again, we're gonna prepare as if we are opening our season on November 25th, and if it changes, we'll adjust accordingly. But one thing I would learn at an early age is I'm not going to stress out about things that I have no control over. And I know the Big Ten is working hard, obviously to get football up and rolling, and hopefully that will go off without a hitch here in a couple weeks. But they're working hard as far as what we're going to do as a basketball conference as well. And, as soon as the information is there that they feel comfortable providing for us, we'll have our schedule. So, we're just, our big thing right now is worry about what we can control, and that's preparing our team as if we're going to start playing games on the 25th.
We'll finish up this round of questions with Matt Foster.
Fred, I know the NCAA D1 Council is looking at the possibility of granting winter sport athletes another year of eligibility like they did for spring and fall, as well as a possible one-time penalty-free transfer. Just wanted to get your thoughts on if that's a good idea, if, your guys would explore using that, just how that would affect your program and just basketball in general.
Yeah, I mean, again, we'll cross that bridge if and when it happens. We'll see how it all plays out as far as if they do grant those situations for transfers and for the winter sport athletes. So, we'll figure that out if and when it happens.